Welcome to Plagiarism Pitfalls, a training video from the Robert R. Muntz Library at the University of Texas at Tyler. My name's Christine, and I'm one of the liaison librarians here to help you with your information needs. Since you've made it to a graduate program, you've probably heard about plagiarism for at least the last 4 years, and probably more. But it's always good to look at the definition. Plagiarism is stealing another's work and passing it off as your own, or using another's work without giving them credit. I retrieved this definition from the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary. But to paraphrase, plagiarism is stealing someone's work. When we talk about plagiarism, we tend to talk about the minutiae, how to craft the perfect bibliography or works cited page, whether that should go in alphabetical order or in order of use of the source, what style to use since there's not one universal style that makes every field happy, how to cite in text if you need to cite or not in text, what type of footnotes you should have, or endnotes, or if you need endnotes. And the focus has tended to be on not getting a bad grade, or worse, expelled. The result of focusing just on the pickiness of style is that student researchers tend to miss the point. They're worried about getting points deducted and getting in trouble, but they're not recognizing the full picture. Scholarship is a conversation that researchers have with each other. You cite so that you know whom to talk to. You cite because giving credit is a trade-off. You cite because it shows that you've read or listened to information about a field and synthesized all of that information into your own understanding. This conversation's happening a lot in higher ed right now, and Barbara Pfister says they don't connect composing citations with academic values, having an open mind, respecting evidence even if it doesn't support your hypothesis, making sure readers know how you arrive at your conclusion, and honoring expertise. None of that is made obvious from the act of citing sources. But all of that is included in why we create citations. The conversation needs to be about how to be a good colleague, what is at stake when you don't cite your literature, how credit for work can impact research, and just to not be that person. There are some myths that persist about plagiarism. One of them, paraphrasing is just rewriting. Rewriting could just be changing out words. You could use a thesaurus and make up new words that replace the old words. It helps to think of paraphrasing as translating. If you said a word or a sentence in Spanish and I repeated it, I might sound like I know what I'm talking about, but if I don't understand the language, I wouldn't. Paraphrasing shows that you've synthesized the information and that you actually understand it. You can't plagiarize things not in copyright. Copyright is a legal standard. It protects the written and creative works that people make, and you can get in a lot of trouble for copyright infringement that wouldn't necessarily be plagiarism. Plagiarism is not a legal standard, and there's no statute of limitations on the ideas that you could plagiarize. Even though somebody might have been dead for 200 years, if you're using their words, their information, or their ideas, you need to find a way to cite them. Plagiarism is harmless. There is actually a lot of papers that get retracted every year because of plagiarism. Retractions and plagiarism contribute to wasted resources. According to the Government Accountability Office, duplicative spending may cost as much as $200 billion every year, due in some part to plagiarism and the retractions that are caused by it. You can't self-plagiarize. You actually can. When you self-plagiarize, there's a higher potential for fraud, especially if your original works weren't original. The possibility of copyright infringement exists. Even if you were the person who created something, you may not own the copyright if it was published through a journal or a magazine. And there's a potential to perpetuate misinformation. If you reuse your own works and that original work contained misinformation, then reusing it perpetuates that misinformation. Finally, if you ever have any trouble with plagiarism or with how to cite things, ask your librarian or go to the Writing Center for help.